The villain finished his monologue. Civilians standing around waited for the hero to begin the fight. "Well, what are you waiting for? Demolish the bad guy!" The hero responded, "Hang on, he's made a couple of good points. We should hear him out." Flabbergasted, the crowd just gawked at Soundwave's words. The Sinister Sisters also stood mouths agape as they processed what had just come out of the hero's mouth. Did he really just agree with them? Or was this just a delay tactic to buy time for other heroes to join him? It couldn't be the latter, as he had been able to comfortably handle all three of them up to that point. But they couldn't fathom it being the former either. A hero agreeing with villains? Hell would freeze over first. In spite of the incomprehension of his foes, Soundwave once again spoke. "I am willing to hear you out, but I cannot condone your destructive methods. Disarm the device and we shall discuss your points peacefully." The first to recover was the eldest of the Sinister Sisters, Karina. "You swear on your honor as a hero in front of all these witnesses that you'll actually listen." "Karina, what are you doing?" hissed the youngest, Francesca. "He's gotta be lying. Heroes never listen." "What reason does he have to lie?" retorted Karina. "He's been kicking our asses thus far. We have nothing to lose." "I don't trust him either, but Karina's right," interjected Darla, the middle and final sister. "You could have ended this already. I trust your judgment, Karina." Taking the control from her jacket pocket, Karina looked at Soundwave. "Swear here and now that if I disarm the device, you will not attack, and will listen to us." "I swear on my honor and name as a hero. I will stand down once the device is no longer a danger to the people," he replied, raising his hands in the air. "You've made a few good points, and I'm curious as to whether you actually have thought them out or are willing to take in other points of view, or if you're just trying to justify your destructive behavior. I will give you the chance to convince me. Fail to do so, and I will take you down." With that guarantee that they'd get a chance in the subsequent threat if should they squander it, Karina nodded to her sisters and keyed the sequence into the device's controller to deactivate it. Maybe not all heroes are self-righteous, stuck-up pricks, she thought, confident that she and her sisters could convince Soundwave as long as he wasn't lying. And that's why, my fellow humans, we should destroy the city and live a life of freedom from the government's tyranny. And there's no way you can stop me from making this our future. I yelled over the sea of people, big and small, in front of my nemesis. Lighterman flew before me, and while his stupidly neon suit and his superhero name were the most cliche things I've ever seen, he surprised me. I braced for impact of the first blow, and, well, nothing. I kept my hands to my face for a solid 10 seconds when I finally got a look at him. He seemed to be thinking. "Hey, Lighterman!" the guy in the crowd yelled, standing out in the ocean of silence. "Aren't you gonna punch her in the face or something?" Lighterman mumbled something quickly and glided safely down to the ground where the people parted to make a spot for him. "To be fair, You got some pretty solid points. Maybe let's hear them out. A whisper flew over the city, and faint gasps could be heard. Lighterman's words echoing throughout the city. What? I yelled, trying to decide if this was a ruse to give him a chance to surprise me. You can't actually be serious. No, I see it now. He makes a big gesture with his arms. No more criminals, violence, homeless. To be honest, it sounds like a perfect world. Everyone is staring at him in shock, and I can't help but wonder if he's telling the truth. I float down to the top of the short building, but tall enough so that civilians can't try to get to me. You alright there, bud? Did you trip and hit your head? You're not even doing the stupid hero voice you do all the time. I asked him, watching other citizens pull out phones and call, presumably, the police. No! Lighterman shouts, startling everyone, including me. His arm reaches out and yanks a person's phone right out of their hands and sets it aflame. No more government! No more phones! He cackles, stomping on the burnt phone. Glass and ash scatter across the pavement. He quickly rises from the ground as an angry mob begins to form. A manic look in his eyes. I can't help but fear for my safety. His gaze dashes from building to building, his grin becoming wider. A flame appears in the palm of his hand. It dances with the light breeze of midday. He reaches up and shoots a giant ball of flames into the tallest building in the city. Chaos erupts with people running in every which way. A child is trampled, another left behind, cars crashing into others, creating more flames in the streets. I gaze upon the burning earth in awe. Time seemingly slows down as I rush up to Lighterman and aid him in the destruction. The most beautiful yet chaotic scene I have ever witnessed in my years as a villain. The hero finally cracked. Hypnos was standing a few good feet away from his arch-nemesis, Prometheus, looking absolutely stunned. And Prometheus was shocked, his eyes widening under the pig skull he used as a mask. Go on then, Hypnos urged him, a kind smile plastered on his lips, even though no one could see it under the gas mask. I'll listen. The people around them started mumbling, complaining. Are we supposed to fight now? Prometheus asked. His blue long cape shifted as he stepped from one leg to another. He switched his hold on the twin blades he used in fights. Are we? Hypnos asked as he adjusted his dark green gas mask and laid on the axe he uses to fight, crafted from uranium with the best technology available. Now what was that about anarchy? He asked before grabbing the handle of his weapon again. With a light step, he was in Prometheus' personal space, face just inches away from the others, even though the villain was 3 or 4 inches tall. Dark blue eyes stared into the empty voids of the skull. What? Personal space, dude! Prometheus stepped back, guard up. He felt his blood rushing up to his face. I'm just curious about what you think, Hypnos pouted. The crowd had been silent for what felt like an eternity. The villain had just finished his speech. He had been spouting the same rhetoric he'd been repeating for weeks. I was the only one who seemed to be paying any attention to what he had to say. I knew if I could just get him to listen, he'd understand that he didn't need to resort to violence. I had to be careful. He was unpredictable and dangerous. I had to tread lightly. So when the crowd began to murmur, I responded, "Hang on. He's made a couple of good points. We should hear him out." The crowd collectively gasped. I could feel their eyes on me, but I stood my ground. I had to show this man that there was a better way. The villain nodded in agreement and began to explain his plan. For the first time, I finally saw the truth. This man wasn't a villain. He was a victim. He had been betrayed and manipulated by those in power. He was simply fighting for justice. I was filled with a newfound respect for him. I wanted to help him, and I knew I could. As I was about to reach out to him, I heard a voice from behind me. "You should have listened to me. I warned you this would happen." I turned to see the villain's accomplice, a sinister figure cloaked in shadow. In one hand he held a detonator, in the other, a remote-controlled drone was hovering over us. The drone fired a missile, destroying the building and killing everyone inside. I had failed. I had failed to save these people, to save the villain, and to save myself.